right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z. She's tracking these winds, and you know those words, Ginger, the National Weather Service with this warning again. Particularly dangerous situation. They say it starts right in the middle of the night when it's most dangerous.
Those PDS red flag warnings, David, go into effect again for the next wave at 3 a.m. Pacific time. So in that overnight critical time, and they've extended them until 3 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. Then things relax. But those red flag warnings actually go all the way down to the Mexican border. We saw a couple spot fires even in the San Diego County mountains. So we'll be keeping an eye on all of it. But this area where you have extreme fire risk, San Fernando Valley, back to Thousand Oaks, the western Santa Monica Mountains, we're watching really closely for wind gusts of 45 to even 70 miles per hour. It won't be consistent. It will come through canyons, but when it comes, it can make explosive fire growth. We even stopped it there, 9 a.m. Pacific time. You see Fillmore at 50 mile per hour winds, Oxnard 47. That is big time problems to try to fight fires. Let's go to the cold now, though, because wind chills as cold as 20 below in Appalachia early tomorrow morning with extreme cold warnings, 1 below Detroit. And David, unfortunately, this pattern sticks even colder next week down to Texas, and that means more offshore flow and Santa Ana winds for Southern California. David.
You're stuck in this pattern. I know you have late reporting on the winds first thing in the morning on GMA. Thanks, Ginger. Following what could be a major development between Israel and Hamas involving the hostages, including Americans, still being held. Will there be a ceasefire? And is it close? Ian Pannell from Israel tonight.
After 15 months of war in Gaza, tonight, 2 U.S. officials say Israel and Hamas have agreed on core elements of a ceasefire and the release of dozens of hostages kidnapped in the October 7th attack. According to people familiar with the negotiations, both sides are working to overcome minor details, but don't believe any sticking points will derail progress. ABC News learning the details of a potential deal are broken up into 3 main phases, starting with the release of 33 hostages, including at least 2 Americans. Over the next 42 days, Israeli forces would withdraw from parts of Gaza and allow much-needed aid in. The Biden administration, Qatar, Egypt, and the incoming Trump administration all involved.
It's right on the brink. It's closer than it's ever been before, but right now, as we sit here, we await final word from Hamas.
David, this deal appears close, but a reminder that Prime Minister Netanyahu still has to get it through his security cabinet and his government to get the green light. David?
A lot of families waiting on this one. Ian Pannell, Ian, thank you. Tonight, the Justice Department releasing Special Counsel Jack Smith's final report on Donald Trump and January 6th. Smith saying he believes there was enough evidence to convict Trump, but that voters reelected him to the White House instead. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Just days before the inauguration of President-elect Trump, Special Counsel Jack Smith releasing a blistering report on Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election, saying Trump would likely have been convicted on multiple felonies had voters not decided to send him back to the White House. Smith, who resigned last week, standing behind his decision to charge Trump, stating Trump engaged in an unprecedented criminal effort to overturn the legitimate results of the election in order to retain power. Suggesting his evidence was overwhelming, the special counsel stating Trump directed the angry mob to the United States Capitol to obstruct the congressional certification of the presidential election.
We're going to walk down and I'll be there with you.
Trump supporters storming the Capitol, some chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." But Trump has maintained his innocence throughout and stated that he never intended for his supporters to commit violence. Smith says he decided not to charge Trump with inciting an insurrection because the office did not develop direct evidence of Mr. Trump's subjective intent to cause the full scope of the violence that occurred on January 6th. Trump's legal team overnight made a last-ditch effort to block the release of the report, arguing, never before in our nation's history has the Department of Justice attempted to interfere with an incoming presidential administration. But Judge Eileen Cannon, who was nominated by Trump, rejected their request. David, tonight Trump is mocking Jack Smith, saying flatly the voters have spoken, electing him again. He's well aware of the DOJ policy that a sitting president cannot be prosecuted, David.
Pierre Thomas. Thank you, Pierre. Next tonight, into WNBA star Caitlin Clark's alleged stalker, the suspect in court today in a bizarre outburst. What he said to the judge. Here's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, the man accused of terrorizing WNBA Rookie of the Year Caitlin Clark for weeks with threatening and sexually explicit online messages appearing in court.
Morning, Mr. Lewis.
Guilty.
No.
55-year-old Michael Lewis charged with stalking for allegedly sending the 22-year-old Indiana Fever star multiple messages and posts via the platform X starting in mid-December. In one message, Lewis allegedly telling Clark that he drove around her house 3 times a day, and in another, he allegedly stated his plan to go to a game and sit behind her team's bench. Police say Lewis even traveled from his home in Texas to Indianapolis to be closer to Clark. Investigators tracking him to a hotel near the team's home arena and questioning him about the messages. Lewis allegedly claiming it's an imagination, fantasy type thing. It's a joke. Police warning Lewis to cease contact with Clark, later arresting him on Sunday after they say the messages continued. David, the court entered a not guilty plea on Lewis's behalf, the judge questioning his mental state. He's now being held on $50,000 bail. He's been ordered to stay away from Clark and the arena she plays in. David?
Ariel Reshef. Ariel, thank you. When we come back here, we are learning of at least 50 vehicles in a chain reaction crash. The images are coming in. We'll have them in a moment. Princess Catherine tonight and what she has said for the first time, and the discovery tonight in the ash. And this is really moving. America Strong in a moment. And ICE is being blamed for a massive pileup near South Bend, Indiana. At least 15 vehicles involved in a chain reaction crash, closing part of the US 20 bypass there. Drivers facing slick roads and low visibility. Dozens of crashes in the area. No major injuries reported so far. When we come back here to the Index, Princess Catherine for the first time saying her cancer is in remission, returning to the London hospital where she was treated, thanking the staff, sharing personal stories with cancer patients, saying it is a relief to now be in remission and I remain focused on recovery. Great to hear it. When we come back here tonight, America Strong, the firefighter who suddenly called out, I found something, brought tears. Right here, the discovery in the ashes. Tonight in Altadena, California, the discovery in the rubble. Victoria DeSantis and her family among thousands who lost everything. They left in the middle of the night. Her wedding band and engagement ring by the front door. She didn't get to take them with her. She would spend 18 years raising her family in that home. Birthdays, graduations, Christmas trees, backyard gatherings. Victoria back sifting through the debris, hoping to at least find those rings. Finding the melted remains of her engagement ring by what had been her front door, fearing the wedding band was gone. Firefighters nearby offering to help, and suddenly a firefighter calling out that he had found something. It turned out it was Victoria's wedding band. Fighting back tears, Victoria holding that ring once more. Tonight, grateful to those firefighters and her husband Marco joking, if the ring survived the fire, she was forever stuck with him too. And right here tonight,
hi David.
Victoria on her moment of joy in the midst of so much sadness.
Getting my ring back is just such a symbol of love and family that, you know, a fire may tear down our house, but our little family still exists and the love will always be there. Altadena is such a beautiful community. It's trees as far as you can see, mountains. It's Los Angeles, but it's just its own little piece of nature and community. And I know we're going to rebuild and it's going to be amazing. And I can't wait to have all my neighbors in our backyard again, toasting to the next chapter.
Oh, Victoria, we just love that message. We love that you have your ring back, and we love your husband's sense of humor, saying if you've got the ring, you've got us all forever. I'm David Muir. Thanks for watching. I'll see you right here tomorrow night.